Yeah, come on now.
Oh, look at it there. I didn't know he was on the StreamYard, Jay.
Yeah, he dipped, man. It's a mid-afternoon dipping for the mayor right now.
He's a busy man, no doubt about it. Mayor Kevin McCarty joining us. What's up, Mayor? It's Kyle Draper here. Jay Johnson, thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank you, Kyle and Dre. Good to hear you. I jump on every now and then to listen to you, but I've never been on this show with you guys, so here we are.
Well, now you've had the rest. Now try the best. How about that? You're on the best sports talk show in Sacramento. Mayor, obviously yesterday a big day, groundbreaking ceremony for the Republic FC new stadium over by the rail yards. Can you just talk about the efforts, and you've been a part of city politics in our area for a while, the efforts to finally get this done and get to this point?
Yeah, this was Can you hear me right here?
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so this was over a decade in the making. This happened so long that I went over to the Capitol for 10 years. And, when I left to go to the Capitol in 2014, this was an idea that had been around for a couple years. So we're looking now 13 years ago when this first idea surfaced to have a big time soccer stadium here. And, we've been through all kinds of starts and stops. So this is a big deal for sports fans. This is a sports show. So, Sacramento, we're a fanatic team, a fanatic city. We support, look at the Kings, good years and bad. And, frankly, most of the years since 86, we haven't been in the playoffs, and we still support our team. So we love our sports here in Sacramento. This is way bigger than that. This is about developing the largest infill site in America. When you drive over the freeway on 5 and look out to the east, you see the new Kaiser under construction. We're looking at 200 plus acres, which is about a third of the size of the urban core of Sacramento. So this is a huge footprint that's going to transform Sacramento, bring more activity, bring more money to the city as we try to balance our budget and grow our city and make us, a more fun city.
Mayor, you spoke on something that we've had a conversation over the last 48 hours about, is that corridor right there on I-5 with the SMUD Museum. Of course, you look over, you see the bridges, you look to your left or right, depending on where you come north or south, you see G1C off into a distance, and then you look down and see Amtrak, the rail yards. To you, is this a finish line for that 5 corridor, or is there, maybe you don't show me your hand, but is there some things that you might be looking forward to extra to build around that 5 corridor?
Yeah, I think there's still some stuff on the corridor up to the airport. We're getting a top golf.
Oh yeah. On the Thomas.
Over there, and the Thomas right on 5 and kind of West El Camino right there. Got the new Costco going in there, got some job centers there. We got a hospital idea out there, the North State Hospital. So there's a lot of potential, but this is the core. People want to go downtown. So whether it's Old Sacramento, downtown, Doco, frankly, over to West Sac. It's not our city of Sacramento, but people enjoy going over there and heck, watching professional baseball for the next 3 or 4 years. So this is an exciting corridor. This is great for people that want entertainment, that like sports. But again, when I talk about running for mayor, some of the things I've zeroed in on are the big issues of, public safety, housing, homelessness, but also just the city and the future and keeping young people here and attracting people here. And I think about 4 things. You mentioned earlier: music, sports, the arts, and food. Those excite people, get people talking.
Hey, Mayor Kevin McCarty joining us. Mayor, could you just speak to the role sports plays in, a community, a city, and how it's viewed? When I look at, for instance, I'm from the East Coast, the city of Hartford, for instance, used to have a hockey team. They left and it went downhill. Can you just speak to just having this Kings, the A's, the Republic, just the growth of sports in this area and what it means to the city?
Yeah, it gives us identity. It brings people together, people who are, hey, look, we're fighting in politics all the time about, red and blue, Trump and non-Trump. And, people go to the A's games or the Kings game, the Republic game or the River Cats, they're just there having a good time. They can have different perspectives. So sports brings communities together with people, different vantage points. and it rallies when the team is doing well. I remember 2002. I was a King season ticket holder in the Western Conference Finals when we lost that game 7, and
Oh.
those refs screwed us, man. Like,
Right.
was it game 5 or game 6? I forget which.
Game
one.
6, we
Game
got
6.
game
Yeah.
6, we got
Game
screwed for
6.
sure.
Yeah, I remember the Bob Horry, the big shot, like in game 3 or 4, and then Bibby with a big shot in game 5. I was there, and then game 6 we got screwed, and we lost game 7. So like
Yeah.
the excitement in Sacramento in '02 was just off the charts, and I can't imagine us getting back into a place like that with MLS or the Kings again, or baseball here. Just it would the city would just explode with excitement.
Mayor McCarty, you were preceded at the time when the Kings snapped their 16-year drought as far as making the playoffs. But you were definitely a part of the community, and I believe it's at the time. Yeah, you weren't the mayor.
Yeah.
So at the time, what does anything bring memory back to you if you're comparing the 2000s teams to, as we call it, the Beam team around here in the last couple of years? What, like, just the excitement to see and walk around Doco and be a part of the city, did that make you smile?
Yeah, so I have an interesting record with the Kings, and some of the listeners may be like, "That's not the McCarty guy who doesn't support the Kings. They don't vote for the subsidy." Yeah, look, I grew up here. I'm a sports guy. I grew up playing, sports here, high school baseball. I'm always been a sports fan, King season ticket holder. I didn't vote for that subsidy. I didn't think it was a good deal at the time for our taxpayers, and unfortunately, I turned out, that we do have big problems with that subsidy still in our city budget. But is here, we need to support the arena downtown. I'm all for it. I've been going to games, and so I went to that game 2 years ago, and I guess it was 2023, that playoff game.
Mhm.
I remember I went to the Saturday game, I think, when they were playing, I guess, the Warriors in that first round.
Mhm.
And I remember that. It's a great question, because I was having flashbacks to the '02 when I walked up on that hot day in '02 against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, and just excitement in the parking lot. But this was I was at the Capitol, so I parked my car at the Capitol that day, and I walked down with my friend of mine, and just walking down K Street, we stopped in a little brewery and had a beer, and just the excitement out there was amazing. And so having that downtown here with the soccer stadium is going to be amazing. I can't imagine if it's MLS, the excitement there. And then you know what? Yeah, we haven't talked about yet, but we're still in the mix for baseball forever. Why not?
Mm.
I've been
Come on, man.
talking to the A's and the MLB, and I think they're more than likely going to go to Las Vegas. But if for baseball fans out there, you may have seen on Sunday Night Baseball, the commissioner was on this week on Sunday when they were doing a game at the Williamsport, and he was talking about expansion and how the MLB is gonna expand. They're looking to expand. They're looking to do things differently, adding some teams and having some regional, kind of mixing it up like they have in the NBA, where they're like a Western Conference type thing. And Sacramento is absolutely in the mix. They're looking for a West Coast team, I think, and an East Coast team. And there's other cities out there that want this in the West, like Portland,
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, I think San Antonio. I'm not sure if San Antonio is West or East, but the conventional wisdom is Nashville has the lock on the East team.
Mhm.
So that means we're 1-4. So 1-4 shot to be in the mix for a West Coast expansion team, if you include San Antonio. So we need to support the A's the next few years, and get out there and attend games. We're going to be working to expand the corporate sponsorships the next few years. That's a big issue as well. So
Mhm.
heck, we can be in the mix for a couple teams. And I know some of our economic development boosters here point out that Sacramento is the largest city in America that doesn't have two professional sports teams.
Wow.
I know the Republic is pro soccer, but like major pro sports teams. So
Yeah.
Sacramento is right there as far as our TV media market to step up for a second, big time sports team.
Hey, Mayor, have you been told at all, what steps need to be done? What needs to be shown from our vantage point? Is it stadium plans? Is it those sponsorship dollars? Is it fan attendance? Like, what needs to be done from our end, the Sacramento side of things, to show Major League Baseball we can support a franchise here?
Yeah, I don't want to get too detailed, but I have been talking to the A's and the MLB, and I think it's always kind of the Achilles for Sacramento is our corporate sponsorships. You know, we went through this when we had the King saga a decade ago. Um, you know, if you go to a Giants game and you look at the sponsors on the wall versus sponsors on the outfield wall around the stadium versus
Right.
here at Sutter Health Park, it's night and day. I went to a Giants game a couple weeks ago, and I went to the A's game, recently too. And I took a look, and obviously it's very, very different. So I think our attendance is fine, but we really need to work to step it up. And one thing that I'm going to be pushing the A's on is, hey, we'll step up more and support you. Maybe throw us a bone and call us the Sacramento A's.
Come on now, Mayor. There you go.
Hey, come on now. You're playing
Yeah.
here. So look, I look at the box score. I see all these teams, and one just A's. Like, where's the name?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they were trying to make sure that when they came here, they didn't, because they're still trying to lock it in Vegas. They didn't want to have some confusion. But as they start building the stadium in Vegas, they're under construction. Okay, you're on your way there. But during your 3-year Airbnb stay with us while you build your big house in Vegas, call us what we are, the Sacramento A's.
100%. Joined by Mayor McCarty, Kevin McCarty. Mayor, I got a couple questions, but I want to try to work here fast with you because I definitely need to see. You said you play a little ball. If you had a good swing, did you have a good fastball? Did you shoot it? Were you a running back? What position you played? But I'd be remiss to Cal Expo, to Sac State. That conversation has been on hot and heavy this past week. What's your thoughts on Sac State and Cal Expo maybe, building a relationship and coming together and building a new stadium over that way?
Well, I'll go to your first question. It's about my uneventful sports. So, yeah, I was not a football player. I would have been broken in half. But my brother played high school and college football. I was a baseball player.
Ooh,
okay.
And, I had fun. I was out there. I obviously, didn't go further. I'm in politics now, but
What position you play, man? Where'd you
I
play
played
at?
outfield. I played
Okay.
outfield. I was a really good defender. I could run him down in all 3 outfield positions.
all right.
I remember one time in high school, I made here's my best ever high school memory. I made a diving catch out at Kennedy, and
Okay.
I was playing right field, and I ran off the field. I ran off the side, and the guy's like, "Hey, nice catch, young man." And I looked up. I was like, "Man, that's Greg Vaughn." The
That's
Major League
Ah, okay.
He told me I made a nice catch, so that was like pretty sweet. On that team I was on, my other claim, my memory is my teammate later became a 15-year major leaguer. That's Derek Lee. So he was a Sacramento baseball player. So yeah, that's fun. But I'm here in politics now, and there's a bridge between politics and sports, which I readily embrace. As long as it makes sense for the city. Like the rail yards vote this week was a great deal for taxpayers, a good public-private partnership, no impact on our general fund. So that was like, a case study as far as what a participation should be with a local government and a sports stadium. As far as Cal Expo, if you recall, when the Kings were looking to find a venue, they were looking at Natomas, of course, downtown, where they ended up here on the mall. And the other one was Cal Expo. Cal Expo was a site for a potential arena. So it's always been thought of as an underutilized asset out there. I think it's like 500 acres out there. Cal Expo, it's owned by the state. It's older, it needs a lot of work. So they've always been looking for some type of infusion of kind of, big project to go in there. And heck, this whole notion with the Sac State's looking to build a stadium, that's an idea worth pursuing. So I'm all for that. There really isn't a lot of city interaction there right now, but I'm all ears kind of learning about that in the last few weeks.
Yeah, Mayor Kevin McCarty joining us. Mayor, I guess my last question for you is this: so many times, we see, the public not willing to fund a private stadium or a team stadium. What do you think the appetite is here in Sacramento for use of public funds for a stadium? I know, with Sac State, you won't have to do that, obviously. Like, what do you think that appetite is around here?
Very limited, very limited. Especially now that we're, massive issues with homelessness and other priorities, and then we're looking at cutting, police and fire and parks budgets the next few years with our budget deficit. So there really isn't the appetite for direct subsidy that comes out of general fund. But the Rail Yard Soccer Stadium was a great example. We're going to rebate the Republic and the developers there. Essentially, I forget what it is. It's 90. So basically, it's tens of millions of dollars in the next couple decades in tax rebates as they build the roads and infrastructure out there. So that, I think, is a fair city investment on that, and it doesn't impact the general fund. So I think there are ways that we can look, and some people may say, "Hey, if you're going to keep baseball, where is it going to go?"
Right.
We'll figure that out. We have land at the rail yards. I mean, heck, even if the Major League Baseball decides they want to stay in West Sacramento, I'm fine with that. That's great for Sacramento. That doesn't bother me one bit. So, we have to find, a team. We have to, frankly, find a multi-billionaire who wants to step up and buy a team. That's always the issue as well.
Right.
So but you know what? We're in the conversation. And I think that's pretty exciting for Sacramento.
Absolutely. Mayor, last question for us is, we're a huge Sacramento Kings station. We've talked about it. We know you're a big fan of the team. We get this question, ever so often, and this is my opportunity, first time I'm talking to you in a long time. The All-Star game. So many people, as the NBA say, if you build it, they'll come. At last conversation, we've heard that we don't have enough, 3-star, 4-star hotels, enough lodging. But every single time I feel like I'm driving downtown, I just looked up on I Street. We got another hotel right there. I think an AC, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like we're adding hotels by the month. If I'm not, as I live in Natoma, so I see one always popping up, or at least it feels that way. Anything in particular that you feel, because I know we're all shooting for the same goal. We would love the All-Star game to be here in Sacramento. But big picture, bird's eye view, is it still the lack of lodging for us in your mind?
I asked this question a few months in to being mayor, just this past spring, talking about the All-Star game or the Final Four for NCAA basketball. And essentially, they said that we need to almost double the amount of hotels we have downtown within walking distance. I did ask that question, like, hey, there's hotels in Natomas over there by Arden Fair.
Right.
And they're like, no, the NBA and NCAA, they want fans to be able to walk within 15 or so minutes to the game. And so even with a new AC hotel and the others building up, that's nice, building a few hundred more. But, we need, a 1,000 or so more, 2,000 more. So, we're moving. I think with this new soccer stadium, there's a hotel project over there. We're talking about hotel project at the convention center and Old Sac. So those combined are, I don't know, 500 to 600 rooms in those 3 hotels right there. So, we're on our way, but we still have a bit of room to go as far as having an All-Star game or Final Four.
Mayor, we appreciate your time. Know you're a busy man. I know yesterday was a great day for Sacramento. Can't wait for the stadium to open up in 2027. Thanks for jumping on with us, Mayor Kevin McCarty. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll play a little catch. We got to play a little catch, Mayor. I'm going to play with some catch with you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.